Hey guys, so for the second half of this week, we're going to look at factored form, which is the third form of the quadratic and really kind of the last one that we're really going to get into this year anyway. So just as refresher, first form we looked at was transformation, vertex form, which is this. And it's nice because you can pull the vertex straight out of it. Just remember to flip the sign of the number that's in parentheses with x. So that'll be the vertex with the transformations. That means that it went left 4 and up 4 because the parent function starts at 0, 0. And then a affects the shape. So in this case, a 2 would be a stretch. Because it's positive, it opens up. And a stretch will make it more narrow. Domain and range. Domain of quadratics is always going to be all real numbers since we have arrows pointing in the direction of the left and the right, and domain is dealing with the x-axis. And range, everything is above the vertex. So we're saying that all of the y's are greater than or equal to 4. Next, we have standard form, which you can tell the difference between the two. Vertex form has the parentheses and parentheses squared more specifically. And standard form has no parentheses. So in this case, finding the vertex is a little bit more complicated. So we use the formula -b over 2a. Standard form is used with formulas a lot. So for the axis of symmetry or the x of the vertex, for this one, I get -4 over 2 times -2. The negatives cancel out to give me just 4, and 2 times -2 is -4. 4 divided by -4 is -1. To find the y of the vertex, then I would plug what I got for x into the equation. So -2 times -1 squared minus 4 times -1 minus 6, which would give me -2 plus 4, which is 2, minus 6, which is -4. So my vertex is -1, -4. It says to write it in vertex form, which is, this is like the outline of vertex form. Where you have the x in parentheses squared on the outside. The x of the vertex goes in the parentheses, but you have to flip the sign. The y goes at the end. And whatever a was goes in front. So here my vertex is -1, -4. A is a -2, so since it's negative, it's going to go down. It's a reflection. And 2 makes it a stretch, so it's more narrow. Blah. As far as domain, again, all real numbers because it goes forever from left to right. Oops. And for range, everything is below the vertex here, so we're going to say all of the y's are less than or equal to 4. Sorry, -4. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so that brings us to factored form. Essentially, we have here is a, it's going to be in front again. We are only going to be doing ones where a would be pulled out in front, basically. But then you have two sets of parentheses. And that would be it. Inside the parentheses would be like two numbers. We'll call them R and S. I don't know. It could be any two numbers. So what we're going to be focusing on is going from standard form to factored form. So this part I would definitely write down. Here's standard form, right? AX squared plus BX plus C. So the first thing you're going to do is divide everything by A. So it's called the greatest common factor. And if A isn't 1, what we're going to do is we're going to pull it out. Right now, we're only dealing with ones that either have an A of 1 or have a greatest common factor of A. Once you do that, you have to find two numbers that add to the middle term. Excuse me. And multiply to the last term. Okay. I will tell you that not everything can be factored. The ones that I'm going to give you will be factored, but I can only guarantee that for the ones that I say, here, factor it. Like, a lot of equations can't be factored. Well, can't be factored with integers, I guess I should say. Anyway. Okay. So, it's weird at first. Once you get the hang of it, it's really not that bad. It's really helpful if you're good at adding, subtracting, and multiplying. But, you know, what do you think? So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 6. Right? Because I can't do anything until I have 1. So, it's called factoring out a 6. If possible, you always want to factor out whatever number, the biggest number you can. Like I said, I'm only going to be giving you ones that have a greatest common factor or A is 1. So if there's a number in front, we're going to divide by. So we have x squared. 72 divided by x or divided by 6 is 12. And 210 divided by 6 would be 14. Right? 140. Sorry. No, that's not right. Ugh. I'm going to do some long division. My brain's not working. 3, 18. Okay, so that wasn't even close. It's 35. Oh, man. My brain's a little fried. All right. So I have to find two numbers that multiply to 35 and add to negative 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list off the factors of 35. So basically, to get 35, I can multiply 1 and 35. It's not divisible by 2 or 3 or 4, but it is divisible by 5. So do 5 and 7. It's not divisible by 6. So those are my only factors. 1 and 35 doesn't make any sense. But hey, guess what? 5 plus 7 is 12. Wow, isn't that cool? So when I come down here to factor, my 6 stays in front. And in the parentheses, I'm going to put 5 and 7. Then I just have to figure out if they're positive or negative, right? So I know they're going to be the same sign because they have to multiply to give me positive 35, but they have to add to give me negative 12. So they're both going to be negative. Okay, this one. So again, first thing I want to do is divide everything by 5. So 35 divided by 5 is 7. 150 divided by 5 is 30. So in this case, I'm going to find all the factors of 30. Because I want to put them in here. I remember I have to find two numbers that multiply to negative 30 and add to 7. So I've got 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 4 doesn't work, 5 and 6. Beyond that, I'd be repeating myself. So, okay. So because this 30 is negative, essentially I'm going to have to subtract because the only way to get a negative by multiplying is with opposite signs. So you have to ask yourself which one of these pairs will subtract to 7, which is 3 and 10. So then I just have to figure out which sign goes with which. I want to get positive 7, right? So I want this to be plus 10 and this to be minus 3. Because when I add those together, I will get positive 7. When I multiply them together, I'll get negative 30. Okay. Now, when something like this happens, technically, the only thing you're doing is the greatest common factor. If you only have two terms, and one of them, if both terms have an x, I'm going to divide both of them by x, and then all I have left is x minus 1. Because I divided both of those by x. X squared divided by x is x. Negative x divided by x is just negative 1. So I just wanted to show you one of those in case that ever happens, so I don't get you all confused. And then finally this one. This does not have a greatest common factor, so I can jump straight to the factoring part. So I have to find my factors of 80. So I've got 1 and 80, 2 and 40, 3 doesn't work, 4 and 20, 5 and 16, 6 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work, 8 and 10, 9 doesn't work, and then I'd be repeating myself because I'd go back up to 10. Okay. So since the 80 is negative, I'm going to be subtracting. So you have to figure out which one of these subtracts to give you 2. And it should, if you subtract these, you get 79. These you would get 38. These you would get 16. These you would get 9. Boom. Those would give me 2. Awesome. So I'm 8 and 10. Once again, I have to figure out if I'm using pluses or minuses because I need them to add up to negative 2. So, to get negative 2, I would want to do negative 10 and positive 8. This will add up to negative 2, but they would multiply to negative 80. Just like once you pick your signs, actually add them together. Make sure you did it right. Actually add them and actually multiply them and make sure that it works out the way that it should. So anyway, that's what we're doing this week. The only way to get good at factoring is to practice it, to be honest. It's a weird skill. It's not something people usually are awesome at right when they very first start. It takes practice and it takes time. So, just need to be mindful of.